Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to the show. This is, of course, Simulated Reality, Part 14. And as I'm going live, I realize, wait, I'm not sharing my screen. So let me bring that back up for you guys. There you go.
There you are.
It's been a hell of a week, folks. So let's welcome SOLRETA Antaria. You can find her work, of course, at SOLRETA Antaria here on YouTube and also on her website at SOLRETAPsychicReadings.com. SOLRETA, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to, since the guides told me last night what we would be talking about, I've just been excited. Oh, and I've got my Lemurian deck as well, so we might pick a couple of special cards too.
Okay, nice. We have a little bit of, I guess, a delay in our chat. I'm noticing now. Hopefully the audience can hear us okay. And for you, the audience, thank you so much for joining us here live tonight on this interactive show. We'll be taking your questions and your comments, as always, as we go out here through the show. I'm going to start by giving SOLRETA some room here to talk about the holographic nature of our reality. So she's been tuning into this since last night here in preparation for the show. So we'll let her start with that. We might do a few cards to pull the energies right now for what's happening in our materium here in this coming a couple of days. And then, you know, we might take some questions from the audience and have some fun with you guys. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And please hit that like and subscribe button. All right, SOLRETA, where do you want to start tonight? Okay, we're getting the 5x5. People can hear us okay. So let's get rock and rolling.
Yeah, sure. And I just want to mention, I have the same code, the discount code for 2-hour sessions, which is JC Love. Because, it's just a reminder to like and subscribe to you, and let's help you get back to the numbers that you had, if not double, triple. Let's just keep working hard at getting to there. And I just want to say hi. I can see a few people saying hi. Hi, John, and Jan in Brisbane. And there was also Shannon in Barwon Heads, which I know where that is. Hello, you're not too far. So yeah, let's get into, so I was going to bed last night and I'm just talking to my higher self, talking to guides, and I'm like, what are we talking about tomorrow? They're like, the nature of the holographic universe and, you know, just how things like the microcosm, the macrocosm. So let's pick some cards, because I'm like, all right, we'll just save it and we'll talk about it in the morning, because I wanted to have it fresh and hearing it at the same time.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much. And yeah, I apologize for the, what's the word? Discombobulated? I think it's the word in English. Anyways, my introduction was a little bit botched here and I'm all over the place. I'm rushing. Just as a quick note here before we start, we're almost ready to implement the membership portion on the website to fix the Patreon censorship problem we've been having here for the last couple of weeks. So I've been doing crazy hours last couple of days in the back end of the website, and we're just almost there. So we're testing more stuff here tonight, but I'll come out to do a video probably tomorrow or Sunday at the latest here with an update for you guys on that. But really, really excited, guys. But it's just hard to switch from that right brain back to the left brain, back to the right brain when you're doing all the analytical stuff and then going back here and doing these the shows.
It is.
Especially with somebody like SOLRETA, who's very, very high vibe. So I have to retune my tuning fork to start the show. Okay.
And it's good to batch task, to do like logical stuff in one go. So I'll have like my flow for readings, and then I'll have batch task emails, because it's a different brain. Yeah, I just want to send my love out to, I saw a comment from someone called Ev in Oz, who just had their dad's funeral. So I just wanted to send you a lot of love too. So I'm picking some cards from the Lemurian deck as well, just to see where it is that they're guiding us. Okay. So let's flip these ones first. Okay. Oh, this is cool. So we have crystal keys coming up in regards to talking about holographic side of things and the nature of the universe. We also have communication and co-creation. Look at these beautiful beings holding this crystal or this world. It could mean a few different things. So we also have the portal keeper. So it's possibly looking at Earth, the crystals that are hidden within, and how, I guess, that's connected on a universal level, and how we can open stargates and portals. So they might be talking a little bit about that too. So if we're looking at stargates and portals, a lot of them are located where there's high quartz content in the ground or other minerals. So one beautiful sacred site that I got taken to was very high in sulfur. So it had a lot of yellow stalagmites and stalactites. Other places that I've had ET experiences and seen amazing UFOs have been like in Sedona, Uluru, other countries, Bali, Italy, Australia. So let's have a look. So they're talking about crystals for that deck and talking about inner earth and different things. Now, remembering, if we're looking at it from a holographic point, we have crystals that are magnetite crystals that are inside the pineal gland. So with crystals, it's all about vibration. So we know that the Schumann frequency on the earth is increasing at the moment. This is also increasing our crystalline structure in the aura and crystalline structure within the pineal gland. So really important to take away any calcification that we can through detoxification. We want to get heavy metals out of the body, because when this Schumann resonance is pulsing and rising, we're also rising and vibrating with this, and remembering that we have a lot of water in the body, and that water being where that frequency is able to not only hold, but also able to shift through. We even see that this being has a crystal over the third eye. And then we see it resonating with crystals, whether it's within a city. And some of the ET UFO discs and worlds that I've seen, whether it's in dreamlight state or fully conscious, and I've seen an etheric overlay of a UFO that has crystalline city built on top of it. They're like cathedrals of light. So this is all about holding frequency. It's all about holding light. So I think that they're trying to bring in the relevance of how this holographic nature relates to us in regards to ascension. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just struck by the beauty of those cards. We don't use them often enough, and I'm just looking at them now.
These are new ones.
Wow.
Yeah, they're really beautiful and very powerful.
For the people who are looking for that, is there a specific place? Can you find them on Amazon?
I would say, I mean, these were from Whole Foods, but I think her deck is all over the place. I think it was by Blue Angel, who's a beautiful family that prints cards and things that I know. So it's by Blue Angel is the printing house, and it's Izzy Ivy is the artist. But yeah, I mean, there's even more amazing cards too. But these are the ones I wanted in relation to what we're talking about. So let's have a feel into this. So what I'm actually getting, it seems to be like this. Where's that card? I'm seeing this kind of frequency where there's beings that are holding or kind of nurturing some kind of universe. To me, when I feel into it, it feels almost like a council type energy. It feels like a God frequency. And I keep seeing this liquid gold energy around what we would call Earth. So if we look at that, something was held in love, or we look at like the microcosm and macrocosm. So for women being portals, and birthing children, or holding the divine and bringing them onto the earth is one portal. So if we look at that as one version of the macrocosm or microcosm, compared to the universe giving birth to planets or giving birth to worlds. And of course there's different traditions and different versions of this throughout history. In the Bhagavad Gita, we hear about Krishna and the lotus cities and the lotus worlds, which are kind of like little floating discs of lotuses. And there's many different incarnations, there's many different versions. And that's where I guess that how we would talk about oversoul energy works. So we can have one soul that's perhaps on this earth. We can have another one that's perhaps in a different reality or in a different dimension. Where they're trying to guide us and why they're wanting to talk about this information is there's different parts of us that have already achieved that which we're wanting to do. There's different parts of us that are overcome our obstacles, our things that hold us back, and difficulties. So let's have a look. So yeah, they're still showing me that gold energy. And I keep getting a feeling in Hebrew, it's called Yod. So it's like the hand of God reaching down onto the earth. They keep showing me this kind of symbol, this kind of frequency, this kind of energy. So it's almost like the hand of God wanting to reach down in regards to our creation. So let's also see what else. Okay, there's something that they're showing me to do with music in this creation, like different tones and different things. Now these tones and codes of creation and of us coming here are stored in the heart, is what they're saying. They're stored in heart codes. Okay. Now what they're talking about is with these heart codes, it's something that's stored very much like within our cellular memory. It's something that we can tap into, we can tune into. This also relates to, as you and I talk about, like with Kundalini, and a lot of people, things kind of stop at the heart, or you get a trickle-on effect once it gets to the heart. So there's been something from early childhood that we weren't perhaps taught that they teach in other worlds, is what they're showing me. So in other worlds, you're taught to sense and you're taught to see with the energies of the heart. We're taught to operate from a point of ego and from a point of mind. This is actually coming up a little bit in a session that I did yesterday as well. So I'll flip these cards. Okay, so here is the birthing moment of the universe in the Empress card. So we're definitely on the right mark, what we're talking about. So we've had 2 cards out of, out of each deck that symbolize this divine feminine principle being involved in the creation of how all of this happened. Now, what's interesting is that this has Empress energy. So with this Empress energy, it also has the fleur-de-lis, which is that kind of like a divine love, that triune type energy. We have the double phoenix on the shield, which is almost like a rebirth of consciousness into a different form. But it has to come from, I guess it's self-directed. It's not something that's come externally and gone, you need to create a world. This is something that's birthed and risen through divine consciousness and with Shakti type energy was what I was being shown. We also have this swan taking care of the little baby swans or cygnets. So what I feel with this is that whoever gave birth to us, or whoever gave consciousness to us, or imparted their divine will and their divine consciousness and seeded that within us, is still watching over us. That's the message that I get in both these decks of cards. We have the completion one. Now, we do come to the end of the Mayan calendar. We're entering a different phase, as we know from December last year. Now, with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that occurred December 21st last year, we're also astrologically in a window where this is being continued. So what we began last year, it's to not lose sight of that. It's to continually feel that space in the heart and that echo of that window opening. So we are transitioning more into this place of light. Now, what we see here with this beautiful Empress, with the pink and green, this is total heart chakra frequency. We see her sitting between dimensions or between worlds. And we see that there's beautiful moon eclipse energy. This is very much tied into our intuition. And she's telling us the medicine is through the heart. We see this blue lotus, which was used in ancient Egyptian times, not only for an aphrodisiac, which is about love, that extension of the heart and things, but it was also used for DMT, which is the awakening of these little magnetite crystals, this pineal gland. So they're really talking about like connecting into earth, connecting into the heart, connecting into these portals to have that divine remembering, to have this activation. And just as we can get Shaktipat, like a touch on the third eye, an awakening from a guru, we can also receive a divine form of Shaktipat from the earth. And from this frequency that's rising is what they're showing me. So with this card, the Four of Wands, we have completion. So this is means for celebration. Four of Wands traditionally is kind of like a wedding or a marriage or a union. So if we're looking at being reunited with this energy that created us, what does that mean? Because that might mean something different to each individual, but try not to conceptualize the idea and try not to think about it from a logical mind point of view. What does it mean to be reunited in the heart with that which created us? So it's really to tap into that deeper sense of love. Now, if there's any emotions that are blocking, we'll need to remove that in order to feel that beautiful divine love. It's not going to be felt as deeply. So where they're heading and where they're taking us towards the future, this is kind of like planting the seeds for tomorrow. This seed was planted in us long, long ago. This divine remembering, this divine awakening, it was planted before the universe was even, I guess, in conception stages. So what we have with this beautiful card, we have the Eight of Disc, and we can see that there's something coming into fruition. We can see that there is a completion, a fulfillment on an earth level, because that's what this card represents. We can also see that we need to nurture this seed. We need to water it, give it the correct nutrition, give it sunlight. And also this speaks about the sun codes. So at the moment here on Earth, we're seeing the sun go through changes. And there's a lot of people that comment about the sun being bigger, or the sun being white, or the sun not having the same kind of like golden qualities that it may have had when we were growing up. I've also seen twin suns come into alignment, which might also change the meaning of the way that we look at what we've been taught in history, seeing two suns come up. With this as well, this is like Scorpio energy. We need to really get into that deep, deep level of not just our human psyche, but what it means to be human. And we need to start showing up as what it really means to be human, because the stuff that we see, I guess, like on the box, like on TV, things like that, that's not really about what it means to be human. That's kind of like the worst expression of what it means to be human most of the time, of what it's broadcasting. So we need to tap into tribal culture. We need to look into ways that are as close to what they would have been thousands of years ago. So this is looking to the elders, it's looking to the ancient ones for that imprint. What is their creation story? Look into the way that different tribal cultures live. They live kind of within a family unit. They don't really go out and live singularly. Like, we're meant to be around people. And if we look at the, the Taurus field that comes from the heart as well, this is like a microcosm version of what was created from that macrocosm. So, I saw that beautiful golden energy that was, like releasing or creating us into the divine. So we're also these mini versions of creation as well. So I had this gorgeous client through the week who was like a younger version of myself. And she was asking about electrical things and affecting electrics. And I had a little bit of that this week. And what I noticed is, depending on like where our moods are at, so I'd had some news that was not so good, and then I'd had my internet drop out. There was no way I was getting it back until I calm. So what this is teaching is our moods directly impact and affect the way in which our electromagnetic heart field and the brain waves. So if you can calm your brain waves, get back into a heart convergence with the mind, we're able to have more influence over our reality. So just as the way that consciousness first created and birthed this reality, perhaps through that divine love, through that beautiful, almost like a Taurus field, it's as close as I can get to what they're trying to relay and the information that they're trying to relay out. So this is sort of like a similar, if you were to take like a still photo of it not moving, that beautiful Taurus field or that beautiful energy coming out. So we're reaching a stage now where, toddlers copy their parents. They either mimic or follow. We may say don't do that, but they do as like what we see as well. So with that, what I'm really getting guided is for us to step into this. I know people use the word co-creation, but this is really about personal empowerment. There's no one that can bring us into creation energy other than ourselves. We have to be the guardian of our mind. We have to be the one that weeds the garden of our mind. But also, more importantly, it's to get back to this place of the heart. We're stepping back in terms of like what our original elders say, in terms of the divine feminine, actually, having the magic return to them. And we're having this state of where the wisdom is coming through the divine feminine, which is the portal. It's not to mean that men don't have input. It's more just to mean in terms of original culture here. It's the women that are going to be sitting around the fire and the men will be putting the input in. So it's the women will be making the decisions, is what's happening in some tribal cultures. So with this, we need to really access the deeper emotions. We need to look into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious part of our mind is still kind of like impinged and still hanging on to this third dimensional reality. somewhat. So in order to get past this, we need to go into deeper brainwaves. We need to step into theta. We need to step into delta and into gamma to really get back that memory of who it is that we are, why we're here. And I'm not talking in an external sense. I'm not even talking about, me being a reader or me working as a psychic. I'm talking about that divine actual essence, that part of us that glows even without us opening our mouth. We need to get back into this. So I'll pick some clarifying cards and we'll see where, okay. Oh, they want the star cards. Well, that's only fitting considering we're talking about the universe.
Right.
So we've got the star tarot here.
Let me bring up a frequency picture as you're talking here so that the audience can tune into that, because as you're talking here, I was paying attention to all of the key words you were using, and somebody in the chat came up with Sarah with the solfeggio frequencies. And so let me bring up this picture here. That's me performing quantum Reiki here using solfeggio frequencies, light frequencies on top of the traditional symbols and energy frequencies of Reiki. So all of that being combined to hit those sweet spots as you're talking in about now and getting in all of these different frequencies. So I encourage people who maybe are feeling all over the place in the last couple of weeks, especially because of the Schumann resonance and everything happening, maybe go seek out practitioners that are close to you that can bring you through these different frequencies very gently and kind of rebalance you altogether. What are your thoughts on that quickly, SOLRETA, before you get the other cards in here?
Yeah. So you want me just to talk about like with working with crystals and like the seals or the chakras?
Right. But the idea right now with everything that's hitting us, the importance of kind of rebalancing all of these frequencies and maybe finding ways either with a practitioner or yourself through some guided meditations to go through these frequencies and kind of reattune to them, because we're being hit and bombarded everywhere. And basically our energy field is all static right now,
exactly.
as opposed to those solfeggio tones that Sarah S. was just talking about. So we can come back to that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interject, but I just
thought that's okay.
I bring the picture in the audience's mind here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So with this, we have there's a different way of looking at it too. If we look at the planets and the stars being kind of the blueprint or the source code in which our simulated reality was created. So the different kind of moderations and different parameters that perhaps dictate or bring an influence in. So it's just like, I guess, being able to control, like in a Sims game, or like, give this person an artistic skill or give this person a cat. So the planets, when we can understand and we can see what planets and what stars are currently in influence, it helps us to kind of prepare for the sometimes storms that come ahead, and we can kind of batten down the hatches. We can perhaps block out a little bit of time. If it's Mercury retrograde, we can go, all right, perhaps it's not the best time to buy a computer, this side of things. But there's also beautiful planetary and star influences that come in when we're working with the chakras. So, heart energy, we all know is related to Venus. We know Earth is related to grounding, and there's certain planets like, Uranus that's maybe more related to the unusual and the peculiar and different things. So if we're working with knowing and understanding the knowledge of how that implies to us, and that's why I love Vedic astrology too, and looking into, that's kind of like my fun little hobby project at the moment, is to look into that and to gain more understanding from that, because it really is, if we look at that, we're an avatar that's created and we're born in a specific birth time. When we can understand these birth times and things, it's like reading our own code or our own manual. So we kind of see how we might spiritually, physically, mentally interact in the world. Western astrology is amazing as well, but I just find Vedic to be that little bit deeper. So in regards to like working with chakras and things from a kinesiology point of view, which is a combination of chiropractics and Chinese medicine, because that's where my background is as well, you can have reactivity going on in chakras. You can have emotions that are held in chakras. You can have two that are kind of not vibing together, or one that might be causing reactivity over another one. So say, for example, a clear, like easy case to understand would be the root chakra taking dominance over the heart chakra. So this would mean always seeking more things of a sexual nature, or more like instant gratification rather than long-term heart-connected love. So if we balance that, we find out when that, so a chakra is it's translated from Sanskrit into like a whirling vortex of light. So the chakras are not still, they're not like flat colored, they're lights, these beautiful vortexes of lights that are spinning. So they're not stationary, and they're made up of cones and rods. So it's like each of them looks like, you know, when you let the water out of a plug hole and you see it cycle down, there's a whirlpool. So in each of these chakras are these little whirlpools of energy. And these are kind of like the rods that are inside. So this is also like a macrocosm version of what's in our eyes. Our eyes are made up of cones and rods. And this is how we see auras. This is how we see chakras and how we see energy. So all of our systems are interconnected. And when we understand that, we can kind of, work out the faster codes, or work out the hacks to getting to the deeper issues. So with these things that are held within the chakras, you can have a chakra that perhaps has a bent little rod that happened in a past life. So we do tend to incarnate with different things if it's been very traumatic, or even, for example, even some gifts. If it's been something that we've worked lifetime after lifetime to establish, you can come in with, your third eye chakra being wide open and come in with different abilities and different things. But usually when something is what we call a God-given gift, it's usually that you've worked so hard lifetime after lifetime to establish this. So it appears to be a God-given gift. It explains a lot of the musicians that just play by ear or play by feel and have that masterpiece that just comes through them. So with these cones and rods, we need to look into if there's any reactivity going. So if one's switching off another chakra, it's more important to release the emotions, because as we've talked about in the past, when we see animals in nature, if they've had trauma or they've had a fight or become upset, we see them shake it off because they're knowing that they're not storing it in the nervous system. When humans have different traumas and things, it's very rare that we go and shake it off or that we do the work to let go of it. We kind of hold it almost like in shock. You can see it when someone's in shock. And this goes into like the myelin sheath that covers the muscles. It also goes into, different areas, organs, different, parts of the body. But it also does get held and stored in chakras. So we need to make sure that we're doing, whether it's purifying rituals, whether it's going to a sound healer to have these vibrations come in and help to vibrate some of it out of the chakras, because that's also quite good. But definitely tapping in and feeling if there's any emotions that are stored or blocked can also be really good too. So I hope that explains chakras from perhaps a different point. Putting crystals and working with crystals also. And in terms of crystals, with talking about clearing all the things we just spoke about, I highly recommend crystal dreaming. Crystal dreaming is a shamanic, it's a way of accessing altered states of consciousness in a crystal mandala grid. So I used to work as a crystal dreaming practitioner years and years ago. But yeah, naturally, I guess this is my jam. Doing the psychic side of things and doing cards.
No, really?
Now and then I'll get a grid out and I'll take someone through those altered states of consciousness. The way I can describe it is it's like having a vision or a screen pop up in front of your face. You can see your guides, you can connect more deeply to higher self, you can remove different things, release like negative entities, parasites, all of the things that we want to work on in order to get clear and to have more energy in our mission.
Very good. And you just said, this is my jam. I'm like, really? I asked the question and you went deep into the details for everyone. So I love it. Absolutely amazing. So folks, go check out our website here at SolretaPsychicReadings.com. A bunch of free stuff as well there, some meditations and all that. But if you do want a reading with Solreta, she has a coupon code now, JC Love. That's on the ticker tape below here for the 2-hour session. So if you guys want to get a little bit more insight here on where you're coming from and where you're going, this is the place to be. So thank you, sir, so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight, especially the new ones just coming in now. I see the numbers are growing here by the minute. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Wonderful. Hi, Omar.
All right. So Rita, did you, okay, so two things. There's somebody in the chat talking about Venus. A lot of different people were talking about Venus this week too. I'm curious maybe why that was coming up in your field, and or just my asking you that now, is there something that's coming up that you think is important for the audience to know, either from who's in Venus, what's happening there, or maybe some messages that are coming through that frequency for us here on Earth?
Let's have a look. So we'll pick the star cards. So Venus for me is like one of my planets that's very connected to my birth chart. It's very connected to do with my work. So when you find out what your main planets are, you're able to utilize them a lot more. So Venus is, hey Jenny, yeah, definitely hit the like. So a lot of my planets are Venus and Jupiter being my biggest influences. So it's about, heart, it's about love, it's about doing it through growth and expansion, and it's connected to do with abundance as well. So when you kind of know your planets, you know what you're working with. So someone might have Mercury and they, are so intellectual, and they really, bring through new concepts, new ideas, new thought into the world. So when we know our planets, it can help us in this way. With Venus, Venus is also connected to the Hathor race. So the Hathor race was a beautiful race that existed in ancient Egypt. If you look up Hathor, you'll see these beautiful, and there's the Venus de Milo picture as well, which is a beautiful example of Venus just coming through. So Venus is kind of like the one that governs beauty, art, music, creativity, anything that brings an otherworldly sense and appreciation and energy onto the earth. So it's also connected to with flowers, perfume, jewelry, anything that sort of makes you feel that little extra bit special is like a Venus influence. So it's also connected to with the female aspect of love. Mars is the masculine aspect of love. So Venus is also like very much about being in the moment. It's kind of one of those energies that's about flow state. So it really relates to everything that we talk about, like with divine feminine, whereas like with the Mars aspect, it's connected to do with, thank you, Jenny. So it's connected to do with more like taking action, more kind of like, right, this job needs to be done. And if we look at the tantric principles behind Venus being kind of like receptive and about taking in and about flow, it's a very beautiful planet. And we look at Mars and it's about like giving, and it's about, it has this mission that we know Mars to have. So that's a little bit connected to do with Venus and what kind of Venus means to me.
Okay.
But this is also knowing that we can tap in and work with. So say, for example, if I've got a little bit of chaos happening, so what you can do is actually tap in, or if there's something that you want to work towards or create. So say if you want to manifest love, it's really about bringing Venus in and the influence of Venus and seeing where Venus is in your chart. So for bringing more planetary medicine in with Venus, it's working with rose quartz, it's working with clear quartz, it's working with stones that are connected to the heart chakra, rhodochrosite, rhodonite, these beautiful stones that have this heart energy and frequency and resonance to them. Also working with like rose petal tea, working with violets, different herbs that relate to Venus. So if anyone wants to find out more on planetary medicine, so say if you need more drive, you need more attention, more focus, and to get stuff done, you would be working with cilantro. Not that cilantro tea, like it might not be everyone's thing, but it has Mars qualities in the plant and alchemical. So if we're looking at alchemy of the planets, look up Nicholas Culpeper, planetary medicine, and there's a list of corresponding herbs and crystals and things that relate to these planets. So I'll just pick a card in relation to Venus.
Hey, hold on a second here. There's a few people in the chat asking, hey, can we see SOLRETA not only shuffle the cards, but they're interested in seeing your layout? Because we have other tarot cards members who come on the show and sometimes put the camera downward. And so
I know, I've been wondering, how do I do this? All I can do is pick up my computer, hope the internet connection doesn't fall out.
Okay. There you go.
So with my normal tarot deck, you guys always see me close my eyes because I'm not flipping until spirits told me to flip, because I love to read with psychometry. I think that, to me, I used to read without cards, and I used to want to stay in that purity of working just within the clairvoyant psychic realm. Right. And what my guides started to talk to me and work with me in regards to this is that it's for our human consciousness. The symbols on the cards are activating. Sometimes it's the validation. So I'll flip these other cards because I work with this deck differently. So with Venus, what we've got happening with Venus at the moment, or why it possibly might be coming up, is Prince of Wands. There's something new coming in terms of a spiritual energy onto the earth. We have Princess of Pentacles. So there is that energy coming in, but then there's the Princess of Pentacles that's kind of holding that frequency on earth. So there's new, what I would call, I don't know, the word spirit is saying is like a gamma wave, is kind of like one way to describe it. So as we look at like gamma waves and things coming from space, there's some kind of wave similar coming in from Venus. So we have Prince of Wands, how gorgeous are these cards, and then the Princess of Disc. And with the other card that we've got, it's really about that faith in the unseen. It's connected to with like us reflecting on things. So the more that we're in tune with Venus, the more that we reflect her light onto the planet. So like to meditate, to tune in, it's about love and compassion. So also looking into those pictures of Hathor, and what was interesting was that her face, they tried to erase it off a lot of the temples. They tried to take away her even being here. So we have this Seven of Pentacles energy as well. So we can see here, it's almost like a Demeter Venusian type beautiful being that's standing in the center of the card. Yeah, so the other thing that I feel too is it's not that like we're focusing on Venus just for overnight. This is Pentacles. So this is something that this is something to hold long term. So how can we hold Venus energy within us long term? Knowing that jewelry, crystals, things like that. So having something on as kind of like a reminder to tap into that Venus love, heart chakra energy could be really good. Yeah, so that's a little bit about what's going on at the moment with Venus.
Awesome. Okay, guys, yeah, anyways, I was gonna say something, but maybe I'll leave that for another show. Okay. I don't want to get yanked here again, just as we're now getting back our sea legs, so to speak, here. So, of course, and Venus is coming from the sea, the birth of Venus here. Okay. So, Reddit, do you want to take questions for the audience? We have we're 37 minutes into the recording. Yeah? You want to take questions? Okay. So, first, let me go check the PayPal tip jar and see. Oh, wow. Okay. Kazumi, thank you so much for that. Let me bring that up on the screen. Wow, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. Let me see if I can share that with you guys here. Kazumi. Thank you, JC, for the Cliff High interview, I guess. Thank you both. Sending gratitude and respect. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Shannon, I love tuning into your YouTube sessions with SOLRETA, of your guests. Being awesome. Okay, so why don't we pick a card? What does universe have to say here to Shannon? Shannon, thank you so much for that tip.
I don't know. Sorry, JC. Just trying to get closer to that one.
Okay,
what was the question?
Hold on a second here. It's just actually, if you can maybe, she didn't have a specific question here, but I just want to thank her for the tip here. Maybe we can just pull some cards and see what universe has.
Yeah, sure. Let's have a look. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So I've got my cards here. Oh. You can see they're just there.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm actually feeling for Shannon at the moment is it's this beautiful, the vision that I'm getting is a meme. I don't know if you've seen that meme where it's a toddler that's like listening to music and she's so like taken over by it that you can just see she's like inside of that piece of music. I'm just being shown that it's about being inside of this flow. It's staying like within your own bubble, and even connecting with the breath. I'm seeing a connection to the divine. So they're really talking about protecting your energy right now, but they're talking about it's not necessarily that the focus is to be on protection. So we can look at something negative in two ways. We can look at it as a instigator for connecting into our divine, back into that flow. So when we see something come up, and our natural response would be to be like, oh no, like this is not good. That's kind of like our logical response. So we can also go, oh, that's interesting that that's coming up. I'm going to use this as time to like anchor deeper and go more within. So I'll flip these cards over. Yeah, so we're seeing this come out in the cards as well. So we have the Ace of Cups. So there's that light, there's that connection to the divine that I was talking about. So you can see why I like to read them face down and not get, any visual influence by them. Right. So that's that energy. And that's about being totally in your flow, in your space. We can't see anything negative that's on the outskirts. Now, where they were talking about, like, not getting caught up in the things that we see around, we have this Princess of Wands. So we can see here that she's really sort of struggling. She's kind of like in flow because she's a Princess of Wands. So she has somewhat of like a spiritual essence that's activated, and she's trying to bring transformation out into the world. But this tiger, the tiger represents fear, has his tail around her throat. So there is a little bit of a struggle to express perhaps like what we're feeling or like our vision out into the world. It feels like a little bit of a roadblock. Now, to overcome this, to get to the Queen of Wands, we need to deal with the fear. We need to kind of make fear our friend. And that's where I was talking about, going, oh, that's interesting. It's coming up. So it's not diving into that unknown energy of fear, which gets us into a cycle, and fear feeds fear, feeds fear. So it really is recognizing it. Oh, that's a tiger. Okay, well, I'm going to make that tiger my friend, but I'm going to set the boundaries with this. So we see that there's this beautiful altar that has these Christ consciousness roses burning. So this is really to get back and put yourself first, to really tap back into that heart frequency, get back into that love state. We have a Knight of Cups around as well. So with this Knight of Cups, we see there's like two different dimensions, two different worlds going on. So Cups is about feeling. With this Knight in shining armor, he's dressed in green armor, which also resonates with heart chakra energy. We also have the angel wings too. I would say, like, with the feeling of these cards, there's an expectation that's perhaps been on you through others. And now this might have been to do with you showing up in the past, and to do with you stopping everything, putting your own stuff on hold to go and run and go to other people's drama, or even if it's, like smaller versions of drama. So with this, I would recommend really like having that time for yourself, whether it's shutting off the phone, having it in a different room, kind of just making that time, scheduling it in so that it doesn't get filled up with other people's things. Because what I'm seeing that's available to you at the moment, it feels really deep, and it feels like there's a lot of spiritual growth when you realize what is draining you and what is giving life. And I feel that this is about other people's perceptions of you too. And sometimes we'll have a perception if we don't show up in the way that people expect us to show up, or if we've showed up for them, 10 out of 10 times in the past. And what if we don't show up that 11th time? Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. So if we don't show up in the way that's expected of us, it can muck with ego. So we need to move past our own ego and put ourselves first. And, if someone's not happy about us showing up for the 11th time when you've always been there in the past, and they can't understand that you might need perhaps time to yourself, then is that such a bad thing? Right. And it's really about boundaries. But yeah, this is the main thing to focus on. is what they're saying. So to look into the positivity of staying in your own flow, in your own lane, to not get caught up in other people's dramas and things. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Shannon, I think that was really good. I hope you're still in the chat and you heard that, or hopefully you'll watch it on replay. That was amazing. So thank you so much, Shannon, for that donation. And Layla, I think it's you the other night. You were asking me to ask a question about the Nordic countries on the Wednesday show, and I did, but I know you're in a different time zone, so hopefully you were able to watch that show on replay on Wednesday night, but I did ask your question there, so hopefully you get that. All right, let me go back here to the PayPal tip jar. Next one on my list is Rhonda Loristala, and she says, "Hi JC, it's Rhonda. Will you ask Solreta if she can pull a card for me?" Oh wait, let me bring this up for you so you guys can see it. It'll be a little bit bigger here. Rhonda, okay. That's so low. There you go. Can you pull a card for me? My dad, please. Taking care of him, and he stopped eating and drinking amongst falling. What does he need from me? He's hardly speaking. I'm hovering.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Let me just feel into the energy of this one again. Okay. So is she saying that she's taking care of him and he's stopped eating and drinking, almost falling? That's
what I'm getting here from the energy.
Yeah. Oops, we've got cards already jump out. There's a bit of a conflict situation happening is what I'm seeing from one of the cards that's jumped out. So one's come out face up, the others are face down. So let's have a look into this. So we've got Dominion has come face up, which is 2 of Wands, which sometimes can be a little bit of spiritual conflict. So he might be, I guess, not feeling to want to eat and drink, or perhaps not feeling that energy there for that. And it's hard because as caring, compassionate beings, we always want to look after those that we care for, and we want to make sure that everyone's okay. So there could be a little bit of conflict around this. I'm just going to look into these other cards. Okay, this is interesting. I'm actually getting shown a mountain, and it's got like a golden, looks like a golden ring on top of it. I'm getting shown Mount Meru, but it also could be one of the cards in here, could be the happiness card. I'll just have a look what cards we've got. Nope. So it must be Mount Meru. Just there's a ring on one of the hilltop pictures on here. So with Mount Meru, there is a certain frequency or certain energy. So it's said that if you approach this mountain and you step into the vicinity of that, you can actually have what's sort of like an ascension process, or a process where you literally disappear into nothing. So it's a high magnetic area. You know, places like Sedona are quite similar. They're points or vortexes. But Mount Meru is quite special. It's supposed to be like the center in terms of power and different things, and kind of like a Shambhala of sorts, which is like a divine city, or a city where the gods reside. So that energy that I was being shown with the gold on top of the mountain, I actually feel like it's looking down onto people of the earth at the moment. And that's the vision I've been having over the last couple of weeks, is, you know, different gods and goddesses actually looking onto the earth and actually kind of watching over what's happening. So perhaps this is to, with this, the energies that I'm seeing, I won't go into it too much because it's quite deep and it could be quite private. But what I do see is there's a closing off situation happening. So this possibly could be like an ending situation happening. We do have the Lovers. The main thing to focus on is that love energy, that connection. That's what's like most important. I know that it would be highly frustrating to see someone that you love not wanting to eat, not wanting to drink. There's a little bit, and this is also why I feel that they're talking about Mount Meru and spiritual energies. We've got the card of indolence, which is the 8 of Cups. Now, this is also connected to feeling disconnected from spirit. We see the Saturn energy, which is very prevalent on the earth at the moment, that we see with, let's just say, earthly governing forces. You know, Saturn is kind of the ruler of that. Saturn is in retrograde at the moment. So this is kind of making up your own rules and things, but it has kept us in a state of oppression. the most important thing that they want us to tap into and get back to with this situation is love. And how can you show up as divine love for him in this particular moment? So really, you know, talking about the things that matter to both your hearts. Let's just ask for something on the physical as well, like in terms of.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you a weird question after too, because I think it's connected, and I'm being guided to ask you. So do yours first, and then I'll come back.
Okay, I'm getting goosebumps. So. All right. So these ones I do flip. Yeah. Okay. So with this, we've got a little bit of a battle of wills going on. It's for a higher good. It's, you know, even though it might seem stubborn or it might be hard to kind of come to terms with, there's a 5 of Wands. We've got a 9 of Swords, which is kind of perhaps sometimes connected to do with grieving, as is sometimes 5 of Cups and feeling that all hope is lost. We need to focus on these 2 of Cups, which we got here. We need to focus on love. So it's a pretty clear message. I hope that I've conveyed that in a gentle way.
That's a difficult one. So thank you for all, Ronnie, for the tip. I appreciate that. I hope this reading helps a little bit, and perhaps you can get a private with SOLRETA to get more into details there, because I feel there's a lot of personal stuff coming up there.
Yeah, but I'm just sending lots of love and just holding you in that beautiful bubble. You know, those sort of stages can be a really beautiful, soulful exchange experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, with respect to Mount Meru, is it possible? So let me bring up this map here. So again, there's a lot of mythology around Mount Meru. You've discussed Shambhala and all these things earlier. Is it possible, SOLRETA, and I don't know if I'm asking you to ask the cards or if I'm asking you directly, or somebody's in the chat's asking me to ask a question out loud. So maybe it's a discussion that we all need to focus on right now. And the question goes something like this. Is it possible that we, call it our higher selves or our complete selves, are actually in Mount Meru and we're sleeping and we're actually here in these avatars, physical bodies, eventually trying to find our way back to Mount Meru? How does that resonate with you when I ask that question like that?
Yeah, well, I guess it ties in with, I don't even have words to describe what it is. So since I was young, I've had different spiritual beings that will come and visit me. And sometimes they show up in the physical, like literally see them in a semi-transparent, non-physical density form. Like I've woken up as a teenager, floating in lotus position in my spirit body into my hallway to see a guru, you know, with a turban on the head, all chakras fully lit up. And I'm like, just, you know, this 15-year-old kid floating in the hallway and trying to work out like what all this means. So one thing that came up to do with Mount Meru and to do with other mountains, there's something very special happening with the mountains at the moment. And when we look at the energy and frequencies of these mountains, because a lot of them have a lot of, crystal that are underneath. So one of my favorite places in the world, Byron Bay and Mullumbimby. Mullumbimby is sort of hinterlands and it has a lot of crystal underneath. So a lot of people go there to be healed, and a lot of healers are drawn to go and work there. So what's been showing up for me is I saw a lot of Indian goddesses and gods looking down. They showed me a mountain, so very similar to like Mount Meru and some other mountains. So it's not just like the one mountain. I guess Mount Meru has special stories and things that go with it, and it's almost like the gate or the access point into other realms or into other worlds.
Okay, so that's leading into my question for Ronnie's father. Right, so there's a connection or a gateway there too, and I'm curious for Ronnie, if she can meditate on that frequency of Mount Meru, maybe she can meet her father on a different frequency. So even if he's not physically talking to her, she might be able to reopen up that connection, focusing on that exact frequency. And so that was for Ronnie, but I believe other people in the chat also have to focus on this for some reason, either past loved ones or themselves now as their higher selves. Perhaps they are from there as well. Maybe their higher selves is trying to connect with them here in this avatar right now, seeing as we're going through this amazing time, just to say that. And maybe those people in these avatars are not getting the complete message yet. So they might be having their higher self screaming from Mount Meru. So that feels like what the message was coming through. And that's why Rodney asking the question, and that's why you were tagged in to bring Mount Meru into this story. So
yeah, I saw it as a clear vision. And that's why I'm like, I heard Mount Meru and I saw the vision of it. And then I'm like, they could be talking about the card happiness because that has a mountain in it. But no, it was Mount Meru.
Very good.
Don't you love it when your logic kicks in for a second? You're like, could be. No, it's what they said.
I love it. Crypto Nana says,
this vision, what they're showing me is the gods and goddesses and the ascended ones that are at the top of this mountain. They keep showing me them peering themselves like through the clouds, looking down at us. And I don't mean looking down as in a bad thing. There's such reverence. There's such a feeling of heart connection, and they can see, and what they project is that we hold similar to like an essence of them. And I know there's various stories throughout history that talk about demigods, or talk about the gods coming onto the earth and impregnating the women. So we do have some of us that have aspects of this demigod nature. So some might be getting called to or having visions to do with these places. That's so true what John's saying. JC is such a special soul family group. Thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you.
And thank you, John. And thank you, everyone, for coming together and staying with us and building stronger and stronger communities as we're doing here on this show each and every week. I really appreciate that. SOLRETA, we have about 5 minutes left because I need to set for my next show. I wanted to absolutely bring to the attention of the audience here, our friend Mariam Hanin is going under an operation here today. And I was hoping that we could all come together and send her some positive frequencies, healing frequencies, and some love. And of course, who better than SOLRETA to lead us into that quick meditation here together. So SOLRETA, while you start here, let me try to bring up a picture of Mariam here and that frequency, so that we can all focus on her and send her our best. You want to start, Mariam?
Yeah. I was just waiting for the photo, but she's such a
I have to look for it, but I just missed it. I clicked off by mistake. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sending her love as well. She's such a beautiful soul. So if we just start by just slowly starting to relax in and just feeling our own frequencies individually. So seeing this beautiful golden dust that's starting to fall over each and every one of you. And with each in-breath, feeling stronger and stronger frequencies connect to this beautiful golden dust. Just letting it fall on you, perhaps like palms up. Feeling it fall like snowflakes into your hands, and feeling the collective of all of us together, holding the hands together with this beautiful gold dust falling. And feel that coming directly from source, pulsating, coming in waves and snowflakes. And seeing that come in and purify and cleanse any of the chakras that need cleansing, any of the auric bodies that need cleansing. Feeling yourself just being in that space of the now. That's right. We're all doing really well. I can feel all of our energies connecting. So we'll just imagine Mariam here in the photo and just sending her that beautiful golden energy coming directly from the healing source and surrounding her in love from our hearts, and just seeing her already healed, already well, already healed, already well. Already healed, already well. And I'm just going to pop my hands in prayer position over my heart and just sending each and every one of you who participated a lot of love and a lot of gratitude. And thank you for doing this little meditation with us. Thank you, JC.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Already healed, already well. I love it. Very good. So I'll send this clip, these last few seconds here to Mariam on her phone. Hopefully she sees that when she recovers later. But hopefully she feels that through the ether. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating in all of this. So very quickly, SOLRETA, again, it was a crazy week here energy-wise. I brought up the frequency resonance of the Schumann frequency earlier today while you were talking. what can you tell the audience?
That's
maybe,
amazing.
yeah, it's not as big as it was last week. Still, there's a lot of activity here in the last couple of hours. But what can you tell the audience here moving forward, maybe in the weekend and the first couple of days of next week, how to handle maybe some of these energies? Is there any advice you can give the audience here?
Yeah. So as we talked about, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 episodes back, we talked about the stone with the light and cracking open. So we had the Star of Taroom return last week. So straight after the show, I went and meditated. And as soon as I went into meditation, there was a raven appear to me. And then I felt the meditation for about 15 minutes. And then another raven appear to me. And I mean, a physical raven flew past my window and went, rah, rah. So the animals and nature are very much aware of these energies returning to Earth and very much aware of the Schumann frequency. So after ceremony was complete, what I saw was this almost serpent-like energy coming down from Queensland into Victoria. So we're seeing a lot of these grids, stars, and portals being activated, which will help to stabilize and help us to hold this new energy that's coming onto the Earth. So to get outside amongst the Schumann frequencies and everything will really help to kind of get you back into what is real, to connect to others, where you can have those beautiful heart conversations. Hugs are so important as well. If we look into the electromagnetic torus field, and it's a really bizarre thing that we're asked to keep a certain distance away, because when 2 hearts come together and we see the magnetic field not only activate around each other, so this might also be if you go to satsang or you go to perhaps, meditation centers, things like this are so vital and so important at the moment. Or church might be a thing, or getting to yoga where there's meditation. It's actually really important to be around others at the moment while this stuff is happening, as well as take the time out if you do feel that you need time away, because not everyone is going to be in this heart space. So make sure to shield and protect yourself too.
Very good advice. Awesome, folks. Well, there you go. Sorry, I almost lost my voice there. That was a part 14 of Simulated Reality with SOLRETA. You can find her work, of course. Please do and subscribe to her channel here on YouTube. It is SOLRETA and Tervia. The links are in the description box below. And also, if you want to avail yourself of a 2-hour reading here with SOLRETA, the coupon code is JCLove in high caps. It's in the ticker tape now. But if you're watching this on replay also, you have all the links in the description box below. And thank you so much, everyone. Hold on just 1 second. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us tonight. And please, in the next couple of minutes here, I have Penny Kelly coming up with us here for a look behind that white wall, as we've discussed here in the last couple of weeks. And this is a break in the clouds, and that'll be at 7:30 Eastern here. When is that? July 30th? Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, I'm all over the place. So in a few minutes here, folks, just stay tuned, and we'll be starting again here with Penny. Okay, SOLRETA, back to you. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to mention, because my bookings are into December, but if anyone did want some, if they're thinking about it for around Christmas, definitely now is that window of time to jump on and think about that side of things. I just didn't want people to miss out. I do have time booked out around Christmas because I'm going to be spending it with the kids, and hopefully celebrating, doing beautiful Christmas things. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I am booking out to December.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, JC, and for our family here. I'm so grateful.
Well, I love having you here as always, SOLRETA. Thank you so much, and thank you for maybe steering the conversation a little bit more than usual here tonight. Again, these last couple of weeks have been horrendous, and I'm having trouble keeping up with everything. But hopefully, starting next week, I'll be able to breathe a little bit, because I think we're just almost over that last hump. So you're gonna have Leo going into Mars in August, and we're also going to have a big Virgo influence where things that you've been working hard to do. It's meant to be an energy that's going to be easier to get stuff done. We're going to have more energy to be able to direct and dedicate to it, but things should open up and kind of fall into line a little bit easier in regards to astrology. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I might actually call you up for a quick reading just to make sure I do my things on the right particular days here. And folks, just a last note here of housekeeping. SOLRETA and I were supposed to record this second episode here of Kundalini or Raising Kundalini with SOLRETA. Of course, this was all delayed in the last couple of weeks with the denial of service attacks on the website. SOLRETA and I just exchanged emails here in the last couple of days, so we're almost ready to bring that back on the board here to do the recording. So hopefully in the next couple of days, maybe by the end of next week, we'll have this next episode for you guys here on the pay-per-view website. So you can find that at beyondmystic.net/pay-per-view. All right, folks, that's it. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and tune in the next couple of minutes here for the Penny Kelly Show. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and au revoir.
Oh, hi, Omar. Thank you.
You're welcome.